This is my PowerPoint on the respiratory system. The respiratory system has many parts. They include passageways, such as the upper and lower airways. They conduct air in and out of the body. The lungs, which is where the gas exchange takes place, and muscles such as the diaphragm that provide the physical forces needed for breathing. The functions of the respiratory system. So the main function of the human respiratory system is to supply the blood with oxygen in order for the blood to deliver oxygen to all parts of the body. Also, it facilitates diffusion of oxygen into the bloodstream. It also receives waste carbon dioxide from the blood and exhales it. The structure of the respiratory system, so the upper structure, so the mouth, nose and nasal cavity, and the function of this part of the system is to warm, filter and moisten the incoming air. The pharynx, here the throat divides into the trachea, which is a windpipe, and oesophagus, which is a food pipe. There is also a small flap of cartilage called the epiglottis, which prevents food from entering the trachea. The larynx, this also is known as the voice box, as it is where sound is generated. It also helps protect the trachea by producing a strong cough reflex if any solid objects pass the epiglottis. The diaphragm contracts and relaxes during inhalation and exhalation, so also has to accommodate and expel air from the body. The external intercostal muscles help increase thoracic size from front to back and side to side with contraction of the external intercostal muscles. Internal intercostal muscles help with expiration, the forced process. The ribs is an example of this. Structure of the respiratory system, lower. Trachea, the inner membrane of the trachea is covered with tiny hairs called cilia, which catch particles of dust which we can then remove through coughing. The trachea is surrounded by 15 to 20 C-shaped rings of cartilage at the front and side, which help protect the trachea and keep it open. The bronchi, the trachea divides into two tubes called bronchi, one entering the left and one entering the right lung. The left bronchi is narrower, longer and more horizontal than the right. Bronchioles, tertiary bronchi continue to divide and become bronchioles, very narrow tubes, less than 1 millimeter in diameter. Alveoli, individual hollow cavities contained with alveolar sacs or dust. Alveoli have very thin walls which permit the exchange of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Pleural membrane. The lungs are surrounded by membranes known as pleura. These contain a cavity with fluid that lubricates the surfaces as the lungs expand and contract. Their main job is to prevent friction and keep the lungs airtight. Pleural fluid. The pleural membrane produces pleural fluid which fills the space between the visceral and parietal pleura. This lubricated fluid allows the lungs to glide over one another easily. The visceral pleura is the innermost of the two pleural membranes. It covers the surface of the lungs. The thoracic cavity, this is the full name for the chamber of the chest that is protected by the thoracic wall. It is protected from the abdominal cavity by the diaphragm. Lobes. Each lobe receives air from its secondary bronchus and is separated from its neighbours by fissures. Breathing. When we breathe, we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Oxygen enters the respiratory system through the mouth and the nose. Breathing is a repetitive process. It has two stages, breathing in and out. These two stages are also called inhalation and exhalation. Tidal volume is the amount of air that can be inhaled and exhaled during one normal breath. During exercise, tidal volume increases to allow more air to pass through the lungs. Residual volume is the amount of air left in your lungs after a maximum exhale. Vital capacity is the amount of air that can be forcibly expelled from the lungs after breathing in as deeply as possible. Neural control of breathing would be how the brain controls breathing, and chemical control of breathing. There are chemoreceptors in the brain and the heart that sense the amount of oxygen, carbon dioxide and acid present in the body. And inspiration is when air is breathed in through the mouth or nose, which then goes into the air passage, whereas expiration is breathing out. Impure air containing carbon dioxide is let out. I got a video. Yeah. Shall I play it again?
No, it's right, see it.
Oh, right.
Excellent.
And then I got an animation of the diaphragm contracting.
Excellent. Was that the end of your presentation?
Yeah.